everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Geraldine. I make videos all about slip of life, organization, and planner videos. So if that's your type of jam, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also click the notification bell so you do know when I do upload, and follow me on all my social media. I'm at Geraldine Silva. I really hope the AC doesn't bother you guys too much on the noise in the background, but it's hot and we're just gonna have to deal with the background noise. But today, if you saw the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about the time that I tried to sue my employer within my speech therapy experience. It was pretty just my first company that I worked with, and the experience that I had with them. It's not something that I would wish someone to go through. However, it is something that I went through, and it's made me grow so much more as a slipper. And it made me realize that I could really figure things out on my own if I really needed to, that I could really depend on myself, because that company made me have to depend on myself. Unfortunately, just because I didn't have the best supervisor and I didn't have the best company who had my back. So we're going to get into it, and I'm not going to be naming any names or anything just to keep the privacy. And this is just a fun little video, an informative video too, for anybody who's out there who doesn't need to be in a speech role, but just has been going through jobs, I guess, just looking for a company that appreciates you as a person. That's why I am such an advocate for finding a company that really truly appreciates you as a person, which is really hard to come by because everything, unfortunately, is revolved around money. But when you can find something like that where, your hard work does get acknowledged, it just makes life a little bit sweeter in that way. And thankfully, I found a company who makes me feel that way, in return makes me want to do better for my company. And I feel like that's something that employers need to acknowledge and need to realize, that if they're good to their employees, the employees will want to be good to the employer. And it's just like a respect type of thing. And unfortunately, I didn't feel respected in my old company. So we're gonna get into the whole story time of how I tried to sue my employer. So we're gonna date this back to, I believe it was in 2022, back in November. No, actually it was 2023, back in January. So I was coming back from a break. I had to take a long break, and I was coming back, and I emailed them saying that I was able to come back, on this certain day. I think it was January 16th. And they emailed me, and I also mentioned to them that I wanted to go from full-time to part-time, doing the evening hours. So from the hours from 3 to 7, Monday through Friday. I wasn't able to do my old full-time job, which used to vary a lot. It was Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 9 to 5, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 7, which I hated those days. But because they asked for it, and I was like, well, I guess maybe I'll get some brownie points for doing 9 to 7, which a lot of speech therapists in that in that company did not want to do those hours. I shouldn't have done it either, just because it took a lot on my mental health, because I didn't get a single hour to my name. As from working from 9 to 7, as soon as I would come home, I would have to cook and then just get ready for bed and just do the same thing all over again the next day. So I was switching over from full-time to part-time, 3 to 7 in the evenings, just because that worked best with my schedule at the time. And so they had agreed to doing from 3 to 7. However, they wanted me to do some in clinics and then some in homes, which I mentioned to them that if I were to do in homes, and if those of you who don't know, in homes are just doing speech services at the client's homes, and then in clinic it's doing speech services at the clinic. So they wanted me to do in homes, and with the in homes is that because I'm doing 4-hour blocks every single day, if I were to do in homes, they give us about a 15-minute gap between each session for driving time. So it would cut down my 4 sessions down to 3, and I'm already doing just a little bit of hours, so I wanted to maximize how many hours I could get in one shift. So I mentioned that to them, and they were like, well, we want our speech therapist, we want our therapist to be doing in-homes. You guys have to do it. And I was like, well, I don't really feel comfortable, one, because it's going to be later in the night, and they send me to sketchy areas. So if you live in California, the Southern California, they were going to send me like in Linwood, and you know Linwood is like sketchy, certain like pockets of it, and they were asking me to do in-homes in like those areas, and I'm like, I don't want to do like in-homes, A, that late at night, B, in those areas, and C, I don't get as much hours if I do in-homes. Can I just do in-clinic? And another thing too that happened, and another reason why I didn't trust this company, was because I had an incident where I arrived to a in-home and I just felt uncomfortable and unsafe, and I walked out, and they got mad at me for doing that. They got upset, and they were like, we don't know why you did that. Why did you leave? The parents are upset. And I'm just like, I felt unsafe. I'm literally having an anxiety attack on the side of the street. And the thing that happened in that scenario is that when we receive a client's information, we get all their like phone numbers and their addresses and whatnot. So I arrived to the address, but it was an apartment, and I didn't have the apartment number. So I called the office and I was like, hey, I don't have the apartment number. Can you call the client and get it? And so she tried calling. The guy was refusing to give it up. It was a guy. He was refusing to give it up, and I felt sketchy about them. Like, why is he refusing to give up his apartment number? Especially because I'm a girl and you're a guy, and I'm going into your apartment. And the thing is too that with the world that we have right now, it's better to be safe than sorry. And so I don't care who you are. If I'm not going to be stepping foot into an apartment where no one knows where I'm at. Not a single freaking soul. So if something were to happen to me, let's say, because the guy wanted to meet me at the lobby. Let's say I met the guy at the lobby and I enter his home, and then something happens to me. They have no way to locate me because the front office doesn't have the location of where I'm at. So, there goes that. And so the guy was giving it up, and then she kept stating like, we need it for our office purposes and blah blah blah. And the guy was sounding like a little aggressive, is what she told me, is that the guy was sounding a little aggressive. And so eventually he gave up the apartment number, and so I was like, okay, I'll go look for it. So I walked around the entire apartment complex and I could not find it. And I called back and I'm like, hey, I don't know if I'm crazy, but I can't find this apartment number. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And then that's when she told me the guy was being aggressive, and then that's where I started to feel like unsafe. And I was like, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable because I can't find this apartment number. He didn't want to give it up, and you're telling me that he's being aggressive. I don't feel comfortable walking in anymore. And then I was like, what do I do? And she's like, go step outside, like we'll figure this out. And I was like, okay. So I stepped outside, and then they kept passing me from person to person to person, and everybody got mad the fact that I left. Every single person, and they retaliated on me because especially the case manager who is in charge of that regional center, she got really upset, stating that I shouldn't have done that, and the office manager also got really upset. And I'm just like, I felt unsafe. I don't want to, I don't want to step foot into somebody's apartment where you guys don't know where I'm at. I feel like it should be a safety protocol. Even if nothing were to happen, it should be just a safety protocol that's like, we're not sending our slippers into an apartment complex that we don't know the number to. We have to have it as a safety precaution. Because, yeah, they took the client's word over mine, and they took their opinions of like being upset over me feeling unsafe. And because of that, and I knew that because that was prior to me leaving for a little while and then coming back, that was another reason why I wasn't safe in doing in-homes so late at night, because I knew that if something were to happen to me, they're not going to have my back. They're always going to have their clients' back because they're always about money. So with that being said, so that added on to everything, and they kept fighting me on it. They kept fighting on the fact that they wanted me to do in-homes and I didn't want to do it. I kept refusing. Stated that I didn't feel safe. My partner didn't feel safe with me going to in-homes, and I also said, if you guys really want me to do in-homes, because of the fact that I'm also losing money, I'm losing an hour of my shift, because let's say I do two in-homes, my first shift or 2 in-homes and then 1 in the clinic, I'm going to lose about 45 minutes because, again, our sessions don't start until, start at the hour. So it starts at 5 or at 6. And then the in-homes, because of that driving time, it could start from like 5:15, 5:30. So I'm losing about 45 minutes because I'm losing about 45 minutes of my time. What am I going to be doing with those 45 minutes? Absolutely nothing, just waiting for my client to come in at 6. So I told them that. I'm like, I'm losing about 45 minutes. Is there any way that you guys could at least give me a raise so that it could cover that cost, and I could also go do those in-homes during the light hours and not the, like, when the sun was setting? I mentioned that, and I'm assuming that they had forwarded that email over to the CEO, and the CEO emailed back that I got accidentally CC'd on that email because the CEO said, therapists need to know that we make the most money when it's in-homes, and she's not a good therapist for me to justify a raise. And when she emailed that back, when I received that email, I felt appalled. I felt horrible, and I felt just ashamed because, for one, I never met this woman. I never spoken to this woman. I never met her in my entire, like, me working there for an entire year. I never said hi to her. No one ever introduced me to her. So for her to speak upon my work when, again, I didn't have the best CEO. I mean, I didn't have the best supervisor teaching me things. She was only there once every 3 months and would never supervise me on a weekly basis. I had to learn everything myself when I first started working there. And I was a first-time SLPA. I was a first-time speech therapist assistant. And then on top of that, with the way that they were treating me with the whole incident that I had with feeling uncomfortable and them taking the clients back instead of mine, after she said that, I literally wanted to quit. I just wanted to quit and be like, no, I'm done. Because not only am I fighting at the fact that I feel unsafe, you're still pushing the narrative of our SLPAs need to be doing in-homes. And then when I'm like, fine, if you want me to do it, at least give me a raise to cover those 45 minutes that I'm losing because you guys want me to do it. No, you're a horrible therapist. You shouldn't have to. I felt, and then not only that, but it wasn't just like HR that was like emailed on that. It was other people too. So other people have saw it. And the thing with HR is that they have a confidentiality, while the other people don't. So they could easily just go around and tell people. And I just didn't want to go back. I didn't want to go back to work. I didn't want to step foot into their clinic. But I was just like, I need the money. And I'm going to have to. And then after that, they were like, fine, you could, because I got accidentally CC'd on that, and they saw that, they just gave it to me. They just were like, okay, fine, you can do in-clinics only. And so it took me a couple months before I could quit. But I gave up on that company completely. I didn't care about anything or anyone. I was just working just for a paycheck. I did not care. And I continue to not care about that company. But again, I don't want to, I don't want them to see this and then I get sued. But the thing is that once I got that, I was just like, I'm gonna sue because this is a form of humiliation. And what is it called? It's just, I felt humiliated. I was like, I'm gonna sue, fuck this. Like, I'm not gonna take that. And I tried reaching out to multiple lawyers, and all of them said that they couldn't do anything about it. Every single one of them, either I never got a call back or they just refused to do service with me. They were like, good luck, hopefully you can find somebody. But the one person that I thought would help me out with my case, she basically told me no as well. And I was just like, I gave up at that point. And I was like, fine. Like, morally, what she did was wrong because she should have not said that and should have not brought in the fact that I wasn't a good therapist. When again, like, I've never met this woman. I swear to God, I never met this woman. It was justifiable what I was asking for, because again, you're asking me to do in-homes and I'm losing a 45-minute gap. Like, it's logical. And I'm only doing part-time too. I'm not doing full-time. It's like, it's logical for you guys to just be like, fine, we'll raise it up so that you can cover that 45 minutes that's gone. But morally it was wrong. Legally, it just, I couldn't do anything about it. So that's basically my story. I wish I could give you guys like some sort of clue so that you can stay away from this company. I just don't know how without like just giving it away. But yeah, it was the worst company ever, and I left, and then I landed with another horrible company, and then thankfully now I'm with the best thing that could have ever happened to me, and I don't ever plan on leaving. So yeah, that's basically my story. Hopefully that made sense to you guys. Hopefully that was entertaining too. But if you guys have any other questions, or if you guys want to hear other story times, please leave them in the comments below. I will, I guess I'll get back to them when I get them. Okay, so please also don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Also click the notification bell so you do know when I do upload, and follow me on all my social media. I'm at Geraldine Silva. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.